All right, here we go. A really fun show in store for you all today, and you don't want to miss any of it because we're really going to have a great conversation and hit on the latest 49ers news and rumors. To start today's show, just some news on the injury front as well as the roster front for San Francisco. Jason Verrett has been activated off PUP. Really good to see him progressing in that rehabilitation process coming off that torn ACL that he suffered last year in Week 1 against the Detroit Lions. And we know since Emmanuel Moseley went out back a couple of weeks ago, tearing that ACL against the Carolina Panthers, that this 49ers secondary has been bad. So to get reinforcements there is certainly going to go a long way for this Niners defense. Also with Tevin, Coleman, the thought was that after the trade of Christian McCaffrey, a running back was going to be let go. Well, Tevin Coleman was let go of the 53-man roster yesterday. Today, though, assigned to the practice squad. So if an injury happens, he could get elevated. He had a really nice debut against the Panthers with those 2 touchdowns, one on the ground, one through the air. But really the big topic of conversation for today's show, could San Francisco go big game quarterback hunting and go after Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, either prior to Tuesday's NFL trade deadline or after the 2022 season, depending on how things shake out for the Niners. So let's look ahead here and just have an open-minded conversation. I understand a lot of people are going to rip me in the comment section. That's fine. I have thick skin. I can take that. But there is serious buzz right now behind either Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers maybe going to the Niners among people that I've talked to and among some NFL inner circles. And you heard it here first, because this is something that if we go back to last offseason we talked about, and after Sunday's game against the Chiefs I had brought up, do not be surprised if Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady at some point are in a Niners uniform. The reasonings behind this, the 49ers as an organization right now are desperate to win. They're on this quest for 6 NFL championships. They are so desperate to bring back another Lombardi trophy to the Bay Area, considering just the lust that comes with the Niners organization. And Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers and their current situations right now with the Green Bay Packers, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, are pretty bleak and not currently pretty. So before we dive into why this could happen, why it makes sense, let me ask you this question. And I want to hear from everybody in the comment section, because this is a pretty difficult one. If you could pick a quarterback to be the franchise guy, either this year or moving forward, who would you pick among these 2 greats and these 2 future Hall of Famers? AR for Aaron Rodgers, TB for Tom Brady. Join the conversation. Have some fun with it down below. We begin with Aaron Rodgers, and then we'll get to Tom Brady. So could Rodgers come back to his childhood squad? Both Rodgers and Tom Brady are NorCal guys. Rodgers specifically, he grew up in Chico, California. He grew up idolizing Joe Montana as well as Steve Young. He's been on record saying this. He played collegiately at Cal after he went to Butte Community College and played JUCO ball. In the 2005 NFL Draft, you remember very well, a lot of you, San Francisco had an opportunity to take Aaron Rodgers atop the draft with that number 1 overall pick. Instead, they didn't. They took Alex Smith, and Rodgers slipped to number 24 in that draft class. And Aaron Rodgers now 0-5 against San Francisco in the playoffs following that loss last year. But here is why Rodgers to the Bay could happen. Aaron Rodgers said after he got that new contract this past offseason that he is playing on a year-to-year basis. There have been rumblings coming out of Green Bay that he might retire after this year. I just think he's kind of exhausted by the current situation in Wisconsin. So Green Bay hasn't also really supported him with the surrounding cast. We know it's well documented that they drafted Jordan Love. They didn't consult with Aaron Rodgers. They tried to get his replacement, and I think Jordan Love is trash. But outside of that, in free agency, they've been cheap in bringing in wide receiver help. In the draft, they've failed to really identify good players or even go after wide receivers in general with some of their high draft picks. So the offensive weapons for Aaron Rodgers right now are bleak. Moving into the future, they are bleak. He's also this year been clashing, has Aaron Rodgers, with current head coach Matt LaFleur. He said, look, we have to simplify this offense. He said in the past on Barstool, I believe it was on Pardon My Take, that there's always motion pre-snap. Can we just simplify things? So as of right now, it looks as though at Aaron Rodgers, Matt LaFleur, they're not seeing things on the same wavelength. With Aaron Rodgers coming to the Bay, he has one Super Bowl championship on his resume right now. He comes back to his childhood squad. easily the Niners, I think, would become favorites to win the NFC. San Francisco has targeted him before, as we're about to talk about. He can come back home, and this is really the perfect place to end his career. I do not believe he's going to be playing until 45 years old like Tom Brady, but I do think he has a couple of years left of elite football. Now, this report did come from Ian Rapoport last year, and we did talk about it last year. Let's bring it back up because it's pretty fascinating when you break it down and you get down to the nitty and gritty. Rapoport, quote, when Rodgers mulled an exit from Green Bay this offseason in 2021, amid frustration with the team's front office, among other reasons, San Francisco was a key figure. Sources say that the Niners were Rodgers' top choice when it came to a new destination, and when the 49ers made their phone call to coach Matt LaFleur, it was done because they got word that Rodgers was more than into it. In fact, LaFleur and Niners coach Kyle Shanahan did talk with LaFleur, quickly shutting the door on any possible trade as quickly as it was brought up. This was before San Francisco traded up to number 3 to eventually take Trey Lance. Now, you look at this picture right here. This is Aaron Rodgers as a young buck, supporting the San Francisco 49ers. That was him in his youth. How about what Aaron Rodgers would look like right now? Can you imagine Aaron Rodgers in a Niners uniform, especially at that location right there in Seattle, taking down the hated rival Sea Chickens, but just rocking the scarlet red and gold till we're dead and cold? Put it in the comment section if you're a real one. That right there, maybe he's pointing to the next destination. And maybe he's pointing right there that he's going to the San Francisco 49ers, or he could demand a trade. As for what he's done this year, he's been pretty solid. He is not the MVP player, or at least hasn't performed up to that here in 2022 like he did in 2021. But I think it's more of an offensive philosophy thing and rocket science here. When you trade away Davante Adams, it's almost like the offense is going to struggle a little bit. That's exactly what's happened here. He's completing a tick under 67% of his passes, 11 touchdowns, 3 picks, 6.5 yards per attempt is actually really, really down. And right now, he's thrown for almost 1,600 yards. But when you think about Aaron Rodgers and Kyle Shanahan's offense, I understand that what Matt LaFleur does is very similar because he's under the Kyle Shanahan tree. Shanahan still, I think, runs a better offense than LaFleur, and Rodgers in this offense would be awesome. It would be absolutely awesome. And if the 49ers can make this happen, look, Trey Lance is still on his rookie contract. You can afford to keep both players potentially, but also you'd have to pull off some salary cap gymnastics. Coming up next on the show, more interesting, fascinating conversations, and we're going to get into why Tom Brady could happen and why Tom Brady could make sense. First, though, let's take a look ahead to Sunday's game. Niners hitting the road, Levi Stadium South at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California to take on the Rams. Can they get on the right track, and can they turn their season around yet again in a get-right game against the Rams? They are 1-point favorites on the road. The over-under is 43. If you want to bet on this game, make sure you do so with our sportsbook partner, BetUS. I've been betting with them ever since I came here to Chat Sports, and I've won a lot of money. So you can too by heading to chatsports.com/49bet, promo code Niners125. Could Tom Brady, a NorCal guy, also come home to NorCal, just like Christian McCaffrey just did? Brady, in the final year of his contract, he will be a free agent after this year. I understand he's going through some difficult scenarios and situations and a difficult time right now with his supposed divorce from Giselle. He has said that he wants to keep playing. And yes, he retired after the 2021 season. But he did say 2 weeks ago that he wants to continue playing. And obviously, that could be the source of his marital problems with Giselle. I'm not going to get into that because that's not my place to talk. I hope both of them well. But as for Tom Brady, there's no way, in my opinion, that he returns to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? I mean, just think about it. They hired Todd Bowles. The team isn't playing well right now. And he supposedly wanted to go to the Miami Dolphins, if not the San Francisco 49ers. Tommy, if you're watching right now, big TB12 guy here, read the book. I follow some of your methods. If you want an 8th title, the 49ers are a perfect fit. Here is why Tom Brady to the Bay Area makes a lot of sense. He grew up in San Mateo, Aaron Rodgers and Chico. He was a 49ers fan growing up. He idolized Joe Montana. He was at Candlestick for the catch. He wanted to go to the Niners after the 2020 season. Instead, he went to the Bucs. It worked out well because he got that 7th championship. The Niners have a great complementary cast for a guy who's 45 years old, so the pressure isn't all on him. When I watch him this year, he still has good arm strength. He still has good accuracy, but the offensive line is dog. Tom Brady also doesn't need a long-term deal. And with Trey Lance still on the roster, what better quarterback to learn from than the GOAT in Tom Brady? Some might say Joe Montana is the GOAT. Either way, it's a very good conversation. Now, we talked about that Aaron Rodgers report earlier from Ian Rapoport. How about this one from NBC Sports Bay Area? This also last year. Shortly after the Niners Super Bowl loss to the Kansas City Chiefs, Brady called his former teammate Wes Welker. According to the new book about the Patriots, It's Better to Be Feared by Seth Wickersham. And Brady informed Welker, San Francisco's wide receivers coach at the time, now he's with the Dolphins with Mike McDaniel, that if the 49ers were interested, he would finish his career in the Bay Area after 20 years and 6 titles with the New England Patriots. According to the book, Brady wrote down 20 or so elements he desired from his new team. His contract demand, considered reasonable. 2 years, $50 million. Brady informed Welker that if the 49ers wanted him, there would be no free agency tour, no bidding war, full stop. He would end his career where his love of football began, in the scarlet and gold, allowing his parents to drive to his games for the first time since the 1990s. And his parents, by the way, still living in Northern California. Brady, like Rodgers this year, he's been playing well. It hasn't necessarily been reflected by the win-loss column, as both teams have 4 losses, but like I said, the accuracy is still there, the zip is still there, and Tom Brady, he came back because he's passionate about the game of football. He wants and has that drive to win yet another championship. The guy's thrown for almost 2,000 yards. His completion percentage is above league average. Tom Brady can still play. So too can Aaron Rodgers. So with that, let's circle back to that previous question. It is today's poll question. Let me hear from you. If you could pick a quarterback for the future, is it Aaron Rodgers? Is it Tom Brady? 2 guys with Niners interests who grew up rooting on this team. Let me know in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel for videos coming your way every single day right here on the Niners Report.